Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for joining us.
Hi, you guys. It's great to see you, Miss Nicole, Marcos, Morticia, JMG, Adam, Fibra May. Hi, you guys.
Hello there, guys. Hey there, James, Melinda, WTF 13 News Source in the house, Mish, J, Max, Febra, Celestial Blue, Granny Anonymous. Yeah, there's a lot of need for herbalists out there, Granny. Most definitely. Herbalists are going to be in, big demand in the world that is, becoming.
Yeah, and knowing how to grow those herbs. And there's actually tricks that you can do to strengthen your herbs if you put certain minerals in there. I never knew that, but I know it now.
Most definitely. I did. I said it right. Yay. Good. Good to see everybody. Ray in the house. Outlaw Bob Barker. There's so much going on with this thing right now, and some things that'll just get you just saying WTF.
Yeah, WTF, totally.
Completely. This thing is morphing. It's changing. You got to wonder. I wish we really knew what was going on here. I think it's obviously something big. Of course, we have people that think that this is just total BS, complete BS. Yet, we saw those body bags in multiple places. We saw the crematoriums in China. Now, there's stuff coming out of China. It makes it look like they're getting a little bit back to normal. For you guys that watch UFC at all, there was 2 championships fights last night. The gentleman did it was just the boringest fight you've ever seen. But the girls put on one that was insane and just amazing. And the champion is from China. And she broke down. She was crying because, after she held on to her belt, barely, she was just saying, praying for people that are suffering with the coronavirus because, she had a hard time getting out of China because of it, and just was saying that the people were suffering over there. And so it appeared that, from what she has experienced and seen, most definitely tremendous hardship going on.
Tremendous hardship. And she when she came over here, she had to be quarantined, and she went through the whole shebang. And yeah, she did break down in tears about how badly things are over there. So that was kind of a wake-up call, saying like, oh, okay, so there's someone like literally that's been there, that has seen this, boots on the ground.
Yeah, most definitely. And as we look at the numbers, let's jump over to the numbers. There's a lot of things that are sticking out, honestly. You see right here, again, China's numbers are barely budging. So the impression one would get is that China is getting a grip from this. Now, is that the case? We don't know. We just don't know, because we still have people saying it's horrible and saying Beijing is really going through a hard time right now. And there's, like we were saying, there's so many videos showing totally dark apartment buildings that look to be empty. So we don't really know if it's complete BS or if it's slowing down in China. And that's sad that governments can't be honest. But that's going to be one of the themes. That was kind of the theme with this morning's video, talking about what's going on over in Turkey, Syria, over in the Middle East, Greece now with the migrants as well. Fortunately, we can't trust any governments. What government can we really trust when you get down to it? And when we look at the next numbers, Italy has jumped to second now. So Italy is getting hit extremely hard. And like I've been saying the last several videos, there was the thought that because of the ACE2 receptors in the body, that it was going to be something that hits people of certain bloodlines, in particular people in Asia, Asian bloodlines. And not necessarily the case, and this thing is mutating as well because, the first word is, it's biowarfare. I mean, it's something that escaped. Well, if it's biowarfare, who did it again? Who did it? And what is the purpose? Was it, again, unintentionally released in China? Was it intentionally released in China, knowing that's going to get worse as it mutates and spreads elsewhere? And maybe that would be almost like a vaccination in a sense, maybe, we don't really know what the official deaths are, and that's not even close what we are thinking, what many people are thinking. 3,824, and you see 3,007 in Hubei province in mainland China. Is that the case? We did see before there was a Chinese general, we talked about it back in 2005, that said that war with the U.S. is inevitable, and China wasn't going to build aircraft carriers, they were going to build biowarfare. So, he said that back in 2005, and then in 2010, we heard China was going to catch a cold from, these sources that were Masonic in origin and, secret societies. We don't know, but there's a lot of statements that are just kind of crazy and cryptic as well, and our president gave us two that seem, they got a lot of people talking and wondering what's going on. Here you see, so Italy 7375 passed South Korea. Deaths in Italy 366. So Italy's deaths and cases are second only to China. 194 deaths in Iran. Iran's got 6,566 cases. Again, these are just the numbers they're giving us. It seems way worse, really, in Iran, and also probably in Italy. We just don't know how honest these countries are being. So 50 deaths in South Korea. South Korea's got 7,313 cases. So if that original thought that it was going to affect people of, certain Asian bloodlines because of the ACE2 receptors, doesn't seem to be the case when you look at South Korea, right? 7,313 cases, 50 deaths. Look at Italy, 73, 75, 366 deaths. Doesn't seem to make sense there, as far as that goes. And then we see France past 1,200 now. Germany's past 1,000. So European countries are catching up fast here. Spain 673, U.S. 547, which did pass Japan. I was thinking that the U.S. would pass Japan today. Japan 502, Switzerland 337, UK 273. Watch the UK and Switzerland both end up passing Japan probably within a week too. So then you got the Netherlands, Sweden, Belgium, Norway. And then we go to Singapore, Hong Kong, which have had cases. And you see Malaysia there. They're way down here. So either the numbers are absolute bunk or something else is going on here.
I don't know. It's like so confusing. There's our president is doing certain things that don't make any sense, and other leaders are doing things that seem to make sense. But you know what? I want the truth, really, no matter what the cost. I just want the truth.
Yeah, that's what I think all of us want. But we're not going to get it, and it doesn't matter if we're in the U.S., UK, Iran, Russia, China. It seems like none of the leaders will ever give a straight shot. So this has strange sounds. And there's video there of, this is in Qom, and this is in Iran. Tons of bodies stacked up in a cemetery. We had seen mass graves out there as well. And, the Iranian MP is talking about dead bodies piling up. So, 300? Or is it more? Should we add 0? I don't think it would be too hard to take care of 300 dead bodies in a whole country. I don't think so. If you're talking thousands, yeah. Thousands would make sense, not maybe 300 across the whole country. As Italy, northern Italy on lockdown. So, contemplating how life is going to change. Well, it's going to change for all of us as well, and it gives you restrictions. All schools and universities must be closed. All your museums, places like that, closed. Cultural, religious, festive events suspended. Cinemas, pubs, theaters, dance schools, game rooms, casinos, nightclubs, all that closed. And people need to self-quarantine as well. But as we're going to see, a lot of people are ignoring it, unfortunately, in various countries. And who knows what this means? I mean, my next piece is called Nothing Can Stop What's Coming. I'm sure people that are Q proponents think it's the beginning of the mass arrests and of the guillotines coming out. And then there's people that have followed, such as ZYPHER, think it's the opposite. It's going to be the patriots that are rounded up. Or is he talking about the virus? That the virus is unstoppable. What's he talking about? And I see that we have some things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so very much, Aaron, Partla, and Grizzly. I think, did you mean to say don't be scared, be prepared? Either way, you can say anything you want. You're lovely and beautiful. Love your family and live each day with a roar. It's the bare necessities.
Thank you, Grizz. Thanks for your support there. We really appreciate it. That's just an odd tweet, isn't it? Yeah. That's odd. Who knows what this means? And we had talked about that other odd tweet that time before too. Fifi, remember? What was that? Yeah. Kofi, and giving out code, so nothing can stop what's coming. Is he like telling us that he can't tell us how bad it is, but guys, it's really bad? Is that what he's saying?
Well, I don't know. I'm confused because his actions don't make any sense. So.
And before I get rid of that one, this is another statement that was printed today. I'm not concerned at all. Trump says he's not worried as coronavirus arrives in D.C. area. So President Trump says he's not worried by the arrival of coronavirus in the Washington area, even after it was confirmed that an infected man was at a conference the president attended just outside the capital city. No, I'm not concerned at all. Trump told reporters on Saturday when asked if he was troubled by the cases around Washington. No, we've done a great job with it. The president, speaking as Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida, insisted that the spreading virus will not stop him from campaigning and vowed to continue to have tremendous rallies. And I've seen a lot of people say that's so irresponsible. Well, think about what we just, saw over in Italy about, the things that are supposed to not happen. Massive public gatherings would be one of them. Mm-hmm. So to me, I don't think there should be any massive political gatherings or public gatherings, because again, we haven't done a lot of testing here. And so how do we know there's not already 7, 8, 10,000 cases in the U.S.? There could be, there definitely could be. And his next piece is called Nothing Can Stop What's Coming. Very, very cryptic, don't you guys think?
Yeah, that's pretty cryptic, and we have certain politicians going into self-quarantining, but he's not, and I don't get it, you guys. I don't.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe we'll know in hindsight, but do we still exactly know what was that? Kofi, what was it?
Cov Fifi.
Yeah, COV Fifi. Do we really definitively know what that is? So Titanic reference. Ooh, good one, Joe. Finding Joe says Titanic reference because of, you remember they were playing music as the ship was going down.
Right. That's right.
Oh, that's a good one, Joe. Maybe you got something there. You might have something there as well. I mean, when I first saw it, I thought it was Nero fiddling while Rome burned. That's what my initial thing was. And there was a little like whisper in my ear when Trump got elected that just said Nero. Like Nero to he's the Nero of the U.S. is what like whispered in my mind. And of course, Nero was fiddling while Rome burned to the ground, and the barbarians were at the gates. So is it? Yeah, what's really going on here? This is interesting. As Raven says, the COV in the text. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Very interesting stuff, and interesting parallels, interesting lines being drawn. And that's why it's so awesome to have you guys on here, so we can all kind of try to figure this out together without like creating separation and stuff.
Yeah, interesting. It really is interesting stuff to look at. It's crazy. And then this is what we were talking about, the close call here at CPAC threatens to upend Trump routine. A growing sense of concern and uncertainty about the reach of COVID-19 has begun to take hold in the White House after an attendee at a recent political conference where President Trump spoke tested positive for COVID-19. Trump was photographed shaking hands with Matt Schlapp, the chairman of the American Conservative Union, who confirmed he had been in direct contact with the infected man during the Conservative Political Action Conference last month. So the handshake at CPAC put Trump just 2 degrees of separation away from the virus that he has sought to minimize, as it has rocked financial markets and tested his leadership skills. So while the White House maintains that Trump was never in direct contact with the infected person and is not suffering from any symptoms, the potential close call at a political event underscores how the outbreak threatens to upend the president's routine as he campaigns for re-election. Was there something astrologically that he had coming that was going to be challenging for him?
Absolutely. He does have something coming up. I can't remember it off the top of my head. It was right around the elections that he will be challenged. There could be loss. There is some things going on. Yeah.
Interesting. So, crazy world. Inside the Trump administration, debate raged over what to tell the public. So after weeks of conflicting signals from the Trump administration about COVID-19, the government's top health officials decided late last month that when President Trump returned from a trip to India, they would tell him they had to be more blunt about the dangers of the outbreak. If he approved, they would level with the public. But Nancy Messenger, the director of the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, got a day ahead of the plan at noon on February 25th, just as Mr. Trump was boarding Air Force One in New Delhi for his flight home. She told reporters on a conference call that life in the United States was about to change. The disruption to everyday life might be severe, she said. Schools might have to close, conferences could be canceled, businesses might make employees work from home. She had told her own children, she said, to prepare for significant disruption in our lives. The stock market plummeted, cable news networks blared apocalyptic headlines, and by the time Mr. Trump landed at Joint Base Andrews early the next morning, his critics were accusing him of sowing confusion on an issue of life or death. The president immediately got on the phone with Alex Azar, his Secretary of Health and Human Services. That call scared people, he shouted, referring to Ms. Messenger's warnings. Are we at the point that we will have to start closing schools? The president added, alarmed, according to an official who heard the call. To health officials, the message needed to change with the outbreak. The epicenter was shifting as the number of new cases outside China surpassed those inside. Dr. Ann Shuyushat, the principal deputy director of the CDC, the issue of what this might mean to us became more important. From the beginning, the Trump administration's attempts to forestall an outbreak of virus now spreading rapidly across the globe was marked by raging internal debate over how far to go in telling Americans the truth. Even as the government scientists and leading health experts raised alarm early and pushed for aggressive action, they faced resistance and doubt at the White House, especially from the president, about spooking financial markets and inciting panic. It's all going to work out, Mr. Trump said recently as Thursday night. Everybody has to be calm. It's going to work out. Health experts say that telling people to remain calm is an effective message in an epidemic, and it is appropriate that it come from the president. Clear, honest communication is also crucial, and the United States has at times criticized China and other governments for being less than transparent. But from Mr. Trump's first comments on the virus in January to rambling remarks at the CDC on Friday, health experts say the administration has struggled to strike an effective balance between encouraging calm, providing key information, and leading an assertive response. The confused signals from the Trump administration, they say, left Americans unprepared for a public health crisis and delayed their understanding of a virus that has reached at least 28 states. And, this was just written a little while ago, infected more than 300, well, it's 500 now, and killed at least 17. So, that's part of the problem. And you understand, I think everybody thought that what they're getting is a businessman, and so perhaps thinking of business first, right? But, when you're talking about lives as well, everybody has to make their own decisions. And here you see coronavirus fight enters new phase as ship prepares to dock in California. So a cruise ship with nearly 3,000 stranded travelers prepares to dock Monday in Port Oakland, California. Top health officials warn the country has entered a new stage in dealing with the deadly coronavirus, one in which containment is no longer possible. So as we're talking about endemic means it's out there in the populace in numbers that is beyond control, and yet the WHO, as we had said, and we showed video on, they still haven't declared a pandemic. And joke, travesty, incompetence, or something diabolical and cynical.
That's what I'm going with option number 3 with that. And Outlaw Bob Barker says, the old boy at the military surplus store when Trump said there was nothing to worry about is when everything started selling, when he started selling out his survival items. Wow.
Yeah, we haven't covered it, but, people are buying up ammo left and right now. That is going on as well. It's, we're at a different stage now. And, it's just a matter of when are we going to hear, that quarantine is in effect, and when we have restrictions and when we're perhaps told when we can go to the market, when we can't go to the market, when are you going to get used to seeing either the cops or the military, down on the street going into town, that type of thing.
Right. It's all kind of like a wait and watch and see thing now. I mean, there's just so much conflicting information flying back and forth. And I guess that's where I always remind myself, it's like you have to go within. You need to listen to your heart.
Grizzly says, former soldier here, when they say everything is fine, it's not fine. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Outlaw Bob Barker says you can never have too much ammo, and it will be great for a barter item. It's true too, because one of the things that's happening right now is we are starting to witness a worldwide financial collapse going on when you look at it. And what that's going to look like, we'll see. There's been a lot of people that have studied that in depth. And look for inflation, because, well, we're going to get to it too, the financial aspects of what's going on. Some things are going to be nice, like gas prices are going to go way down. Of course, you might be quarantined, so you can't go in your car and drive anywhere. But also, food is going to skyrocket. And as Bob Barker was saying, ammo will be something people will be looking for. Food, ammo, water, medicines, first aid stuff, all that type of stuff is going to be more valuable than cash when you get down to it. And so this is Hal Turner, and this is rumors, so we don't know if this is true. Yeah, just stating that straight out. And whenever I see anything about ordering body bags, I tend to think, here they go. And when New York has 8 million people, so, I mean, New York City, right? And so allegedly ordered 2 million body bags. To me, that feels like you're trying to sell it, but, there's so many things that we've seen conspiracy-wise that end up at least having a seed of truth in them. And of course, I think every municipality is talking about what do we do, when we have to quarantine. How are we going to handle this? I think that's something you're going to see, all the major cities talking about, even little towns talking about how are we going to handle this, So that's not unexpected. So obviously, as we see here in the USA, coronavirus is spreading ferociously. Governor Andrew Cuomo revealed Sunday that the total count of confirmed cases in New York State rose to 105. Rumors out of New York City this morning claimed the mayor, Bill de Blasio, was in an all-night meeting with MTA officials, New Jersey and New York National Guard brass, CDC, as well as Governor Cuomo in a live feed from Albany. According to the rumors, the quarantine word was being spoken about frequently. There was allegedly discussion of how to close all the bridges and tunnels to prevent people from entering or leaving the city. These are rumors, not established as facts. Those rumors also claim the city has ordered 2 million body bags from a manufacturer, Medical Products Limited, which I looked at their website. It's legit. And the order, as far as the company's legit, not necessarily the 2 million body bags. The orders began delivering on April 2nd, and it could be that is an exaggeration, but they did maybe perhaps order, whatever, a much larger amount than typical. So, is this true? We don't know. There's 12 cases in NYC, 82 in Westchester County, 5 in Nassau County, 1 in Suffolk County, 2 in Rockland, 2 in upstate Saratoga, and 1 in upstate Ulster County as well. So the bulk of them are obviously in Westchester. Interesting as well. Westchester's fairly affluent, to say the least. And more coronavirus censorship. Social media companies partner with the WHO to censor info. And I don't doubt that for a second, I mean, look at how horrible a job the WHO is doing.
Well, yeah, they don't even know if they have tests, don't have tests, and if they do have tests, the people in charge of them, they're not sure about anything. So, I mean, it's been a big cluster issue from the very start. And thank you, Grizzly. Grizzly says, a local shop here in Tennessee uses alcohol for making bath bombs. Can't find any. It's the unintended consequences people forget about. I agree and understand. There's a lot of unintended consequences that we do forget about, and we're going to see a whole bunch.
This lady, she looks like the lady that was on the Event 201 program. She may very well be. She's from the WHO, so, it says COVID-19 outbreak has seen a massive infodemic and overabundance of information, some accurate and some not. Makes it hard for people to find trustworthy sources and reliable guidance when they need it. Well, should we rely on the WHO, who doesn't even think it's a pandemic yet? I mean, these people are idiots. They're either idiots or they're on the payroll of Satan himself. Yes, I can agree with that.
It's
one of those two. Take your choice. Are they idiots or are they evil? That's my opinion on it. I know that's a lot of other people's opinions too, from what we've been seeing with a lot of comments. Here you see Fauci says anything is possible when asked about widespread coronavirus quarantine. And so this is Dr. Anthony Fauci on the U.S. response to coronavirus. He's the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. So anything is possible, according to, that's a pretty high source right there.
Mm-hmm. Indeed it is, So, I mean, it's all about kind of following the breadcrumbs and using your discernment and looking at history and trying to look ahead and look and see what has come true, what hasn't come true. It's just, it's all so crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. Gates-funded program will soon offer home testing kits for new coronavirus. Look at that. Yeah, Testing for the novel COVID-19 in the Seattle area will get a huge boost in the coming weeks as a project funded by Bill Gates and his foundation begins offering home testing kits that will allow people who fear they may be infected to swab their noses and send back samples for analysis. Results, which should be available in 1 to 2 days, will be shared with local health officials who will come knocking on your door. you know? Yeah. So, the wonderful Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. What would we do without those guys? I tell you. Yep. Well, maybe we'd have a faster population rate as far as increase.
Yeah, we'd have healthier people.
Ted Cruz. Yeah, he's self-quarantining. So he's going to work from home after a brief interaction with a coronavirus patient. And so a couple of days ago, we reported that 2 APAC attendees were among the individuals in Westchester County who were confirmed to be infected with the coronavirus. The news was particularly startling since VP Mike Pence, Secretary of State Pompeo, and a handful of other top Republican figures were in attendance. Initially, it seemed like Pence and co. were going to brush off the news, but a few minutes ago, Senator Ted Cruz released a statement saying he will be staying home in Texas this week after possibly coming in contact with one of the infected individuals at the event. So, he's self-quarantining. And so is the Portuguese president as well. He's going to be quarantined for 2 weeks. And so this is President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, and he is going to be quarantining in his private residence for 2 weeks, according to a statement published on the website of the presidency on Sunday. According to the statement, he received a group of students from a school in northern Portugal last Tuesday at an event and took photos with them. After a student was confirmed on Saturday night to be affected with COVID-19 and the school was closed, he accepted the suggestion of quarantining just in case. And we have the Iranian regime blaming COVID-19 on anti-Semitic Zionist conspiracy. Well, it really does feel like the C word, does it not? I think the question is, who done did it?
Who done did it, you guys? It's a lot of information to sift through, and it just, and the numbers, they're still going up, and they're kind of going up a little bit rapid. So, thank goodness we have taken the time to boost our immune systems, prep as best as we can, talk amongst each other, build our morale, that's important.
Yeah. Most definitely, and Bill is talking about oil futures approaching $30. Yeah, we're going to touch on it. Maybe we'll be seeing $20. Maybe we'll be seeing, gosh, I remember when I first got my license, I think we used to pay about 50, 60 cents a gallon. Yeah, that long ago. And back in those days, cigarettes were probably about that same price, and now the taxes on them are so high. Of course, I wouldn't recommend anybody smoke. It's not good for you. No. So interesting what we're seeing here, and there is a distinction between Zionism and anti-Semitism. There most definitely is. And we've shown, before in other videos, we've talked about Albert Pike and 3 World Wars and how, part of the whole program was about bringing Israel back into existence. And this was the Illuminati bringing Israel back into the existence. And we know that it was Rothschild themselves that really made it happen in a deal. So in that sense, yeah, there's definitely stuff to go on there. It doesn't mean it's the Jewish people or the people living in Israel currently. But yeah, there has been a push to make it happen. And if you look at Albert Pike's prophecy, it was all about basically setting up the next big war. And there's always, war is profitable. It's tremendously profitable. And so is illness and disease. It's profitable without a doubt. The company or companies that land the V for this, that's the amount of money that they're going to make is going to be insane. So, that's always something that anybody that's a little cynical is going to look at. But, Iran has lost so many of its top officials. It's incredible, and they're getting hit real hard, real hard. Of course, people are just saying they're mishandling this, but I think people could say the same situation about China or almost any other country, right? I mean, if we go by the numbers, then maybe Singapore's handling it pretty well. Maybe Taiwan's handling it pretty well, because their cases haven't gone, skyrocketing crazy. But, we just don't know all the facts right now. We really don't.
No, we don't. There's just so much information coming in. It's like, turning on a fire hose of information. And then we did unplug today. We went and collected some rocks. That was really nice to get away. But there's just so much to sift through.
Yeah, so we were out playing with rocks.
Yay. It was fun.
We're going to have so much work to do coming up. And here you see U.S. coronavirus cases surpassed 500 as Italian deaths surged 57%. 57%. So if it was, something that was diabolical and planted and part of some great big conspiracy, well, it would seem like perhaps one of the targets was Italy as well. And it was, I forget exactly what it was now, but there was somebody that had said to watch Italy. I remember showing it on one of the shows we did, one of the lives, probably about 5 or 6 days ago. It was like a thread on Reddit where somebody seemed to have knowledge of how things were going to progress, and it was from back in January, before it had gone crazy over in Italy, and somehow they knew it was going to hit Italy and go crazy. Well, it has. Italy is getting slammed. So we see some highlights. You got 16 million Italians waking up under quarantine now. Oregon declares state of emergency. Death toll hits 21. 2 more cases confirmed in Washington State. And Mayor de Blasio says NYC could see hundreds of cases in 2 to 3 weeks. Massachusetts confirms 15 more cases tied into the Biogen conference. Santa Clara reports 5 more cases. They're up to 37. And New York State over 100. And we know the U.S. is over 500. The Pope's canceling more events. And Dr. Fauci says the spread is getting out of control. Saudi Arabia quarantines a province as well. France and Germany call for bans on events over 1,000. And we have a patient in Japan developing meningitis. Spain's death toll hits 17. They have over 600 cases. Cuomo wants to avoid closing New York City schools and transit if possible. That probably is not a good idea. Might as well close them and save lives. It's possible in this day and age, too, for kids to do online schooling. So why not,
Absolutely.
And, it's too much not sharing honest information from governments, really. Here you see how Disclosed TV, 21 people who have tested positive for a new strain of CV will be transferred to a Georgia air base, Governor Brian Kemp announced Sunday. And that's a question right here. Is this disease X? Is this the one disease X? And then it gets into the L and the S strains. L is more virulent and dangerous. We pray that the S strain is the one that's going through the country currently, but who knows, right? So you see the 2 strains, and you see it evolving. Here we see war on bugs. Coronavirus patients in Spain forced to stay inside their homes by terror cops in hazmat suits. And empty streets. Empty. And, do you want to really hear like a little knock on the door? Open up in there. And see these guys at your front door? Yeah, as Sassy goes and growls.
Yes.
So we had touched on this before, and this is Hal Turner, and he's quoting the other best guessed as far as epidemiology for COVID-19 over the next 2 months. And this is that leaked document from American Hospital Association that we had talked about. So next 2 months, this is what they predicted: 96 million infections, 4.8 million hospitalizations, and 1.9 million ICU admissions, 480,000 deaths. And versus the flu in 19, which has gotten so far 35.5 million infections, 490,600 hospitalizations, 49,000 ICU admissions, and 34,200 deaths. So equating the flu so far this year to what they're expecting from COVID, it's not the flu.
Right. So, this begs me to question yet again, what's up with our president? What's up with that? I don't understand it.
Well, here we see federal agencies prepare for coronavirus disruptions. Everything, air traffic controllers, food inspectors, mail carriers. What's going to shut down? I did see what some, well, I don't know if it was towns or cities, but in some other countries where there was actual disruptions to things like water and sewer and things like that as well, which, we don't think about it, but you still need people to manage, to actually go to work. So what's going to shut down? What's not going to shut down? Israel to draft teens and army to fight the spread of the virus. Every country is going to act differently. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu plans to deploy the military and an army of teenagers to help fight the coronavirus. He's also weighing putting parts of the U.S. on a travel blacklist. Young people in the army will be mobilized to disinfect public spaces, such as railway and bus stations, with bleach. Netanyahu is putting them on the front line after concluding the pandemic is not afflicting the children or the young. He also intends to use the Air Force to ensure Israel has essential supplies such as medicines and raw materials for medicines, according to a statement from his office on Saturday. He called the virus a global pandemic, even though the WHO doesn't, using a phrase some experts would agree with, but that the World Health Organization has refrained from employing, because the disease has responded to containment measures. What?
I know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's, what can you say to that? Are they in a parallel reality? And so this is the other component. The market massacre, oil crashed 30%, VIX explodes, S&P craters, Now things are dropping off a cliff. Look at that. I mean, they're dropping off a cliff. It's definitely scary what we're seeing on the financial end. There's going to be a lot of companies that aren't going to make this. As I was saying before, what happens in these things is the power gets consolidated down. This is part of like how we have basically 6 media companies that control everything as far as the media goes. It's just these cycles, and crashes, they infect the little guys more than the big corporations, though some corporations won't make it either through. But ultimately, we're heading to where you're going to have that 1984 Orwellian thing, and even though the U.S. is a capitalist, society, you'll still end up with really not having any choices. So yeah, oil is crashing. Everything is starting to crash. The bond market crashing. Yeah, let's see if this is translating here. Okay, this is not the one that we wanted to go to. And yet, okay, this is what I want to go to first. Okay. Sorry, guys. There we go. CNBC. So, you see that the 10-year treasury yields plunging. Look at that drop right there. So, Dow futures, of course, the Dow's going down, down, down. The all-out oil price war going on. Negative rates, not on Fed's agenda. Gosh, if you were around back in the 70s with interest rates and all, everything is different now. Everything is different. We're heading into uncharted territory. And here you see Santatune in Beijing yesterday. It's been a ghost mall for weeks, but now slowly stirring back to life. For days, the typical 2-hour wait for a hipster bubbly tea shop had been reduced to 5 minutes. Now it's back up to 40. And that's from firsthand reporting. So if we're to believe it, everybody's out. They got their masks on. Don't know how you're supposed to drink your tea with your mask on. I guess you just simply have to wait to get home. Right. But if that's true, and we don't know what's true, then that gets you suspicious as well.
And thank you so much, Matthew, for your support. We so appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Matthew, for your support. Matthew Fury. And, we're just going to have to see how these things play out. Will Italy end up passing China the way it's going right now, and Iran as well? Anxiety grips companies across the world as, the virus is spreading. Yeah, most definitely, because this is going to be the biggest drop we've seen since 2008, and probably way before that, with what's going on right now. It all depends on how long this is going to last as well. So, defying the advice of Santa Clara County, the San Jose Sharks hockey team played on Thursday declined to cancel their Saturday and Sunday home games. San Jose Earthquakes, a Major League Soccer team, also decided to cancel their Saturday home game. So, and just like we were saying, we would watch the fights, but if I was offered free tickets, I wouldn't go now.
No, wouldn't go. And those were really good fights too, but I still wouldn't go.
No, I think it's irresponsible, to say that. And
thank you, Maddie and Mike. Thank you for your calm, reasonable reporting, and thank you for your support.
And this is Dr. Eric, and Puerto Rico's governor is going to announce shortly the island has its first presumptive positive case. And then here was a New York Times piece on self-quarantine. Shut yourself in, share nothing, not even a bathroom. Okay. And he's touching on the home testing kits by the Gates Foundation. They love us so much. So, the origin of the first COVID-19 case imported into each country on the second image, it's clear it's not China anymore. Italy and Iran are now the top exporters of this virus. So, things have most definitely changed and shifted from what we're seeing. But again, I don't believe the numbers out of China. I just don't believe the numbers out of China.
No, I don't believe them either. There's a lot of numbers that we're not going to get for years. It's going to take a while to sort this mess out.
And so here's a summary of the fatality rates. And this is, again, best estimate. So as you see, the younger kids are less likely to die from this, according to what we're seeing. 0 to 9, 0.0094, right? As far as percentage that are fatalities. 10 to 19, 0.022, 20 to 29, 0.091, 30 to 39, 0.18, 40 to 49, 0.4, 50 to 59, 1.3, 60 to 69, 4.6, 70 to 79, 9.8, and 80 plus 18%. So, President Trump he's in that 9.8% range, if he was exposed to it. And, that again, that's numbers based on probably extremely incomplete data. And have all the links for you guys. This is basically Food and Drug, the FDA, and some of the drug shortages, which there's a lot going on. There's pages here that you could go through. As many people know, so much of this stuff is made in China, as is so much in the world. So obviously, and then just the fact that everything is really starting to grind to a halt. Another good reason to make your last minute preps for whatever else you could possibly think that you might need. And, I'm not much of a baker. I love to cook. More of a chef than a baker, but did make some bread yesterday and it came out pretty good.
Oh my gosh, it was so delicious. It's so yummy. And I nibbled on it all day today.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. So, it's like going back to the old days, which that's what we do cooking wise, because I always make everything from scratch, nothing really out of a jar, anything like that. And the same thing with bread. And stuff tastes better that way. It really, really does. So South Korea, 248 new cases, 1 new death. China, 40 new cases. That was it, 40. That's all they claimed. And 21 new deaths. Saudi Arabia, 4 new cases. Gotta wonder. Yeah, waiting for this to load. And 3 more cases of coronavirus confirmed in Ontario. So 2 new cases are a woman in her 60s who returned from France on March 2nd, man in his 60s who returned from Washington, D.C. on the 3rd. The woman was treated at Scarborough General Hospital. A man was treated at New York General Hospital. Both patients are in self-isolation. This brings the total number of confirmed cases in Ontario to 31. And coronavirus cases at Sydney's St. Patrick Marist College and Willoughby's Girl High School. And so, this is what I just said to Cindy again. I said, you talk to your daughter, make sure that the kids are not going to school. And she said, well, they're on spring break, and she's going to say again to them, please don't send the kids back.
Right. It's important. They're just too little. And it's only like kindergarten and first grade. So it's not like they're going to be missing out on a whole lot. And it would be to their benefit. But I know we all have family members who have different belief systems. So you need to talk to people in different ways to try to wake them up.
And here we see coronavirus scares the Finnish military away from joint NATO drills in Norway. So, if the Finns are saying, no, we're not going to come and play in any NATO drills today, then, maybe other people should, prepare as well and just avoid public gatherings. And here you see this new headline coming through: Asian stocks plunge as panicked investors seek safe haven from perfect storm ravaging markets. It most definitely is a perfect storm going on. And here we see 366 CV deaths in Italy. Saudi schools shut. So, they've shut down schools and universities in Saudi Arabia. You gotta err on the side of caution. It's just, to me, it's only common sense. Why not? Why not? And then here you see, in defiance, people in northern Iran threaten to close roads to prevent coronavirus influx. We don't know what's really going on there. I suspect, in everything I've seen, the leaked photos and stuff, that Iran is really suffering horribly from this. So, enraged by the Islamic Republic's lack of enthusiasm in containing the novel coronavirus, people of Massacre province, northern Iran, have threatened to step in and close the roads to a multitude of non-residents escaping from the highly contaminated regions further south. So in a clip widely circulating on social media, the representative of the cities, and it lists a bunch of different cities, They're demanding the closure of roads leading to the region. People are dying. It's getting out of hand. So it's time to close the roads. And there's video here for you guys to see. Iran and Italy are absolutely getting hammered. And so you will have people, when they feel that things are not being done right, taken to the streets. They will. And don't think it couldn't happen here in the U.S. either.
Right. Yeah, and that's what we really want to avoid. I mean, this whole thing that they keep doing about separate, cause chaos, get people to fight and everything else, they're extremely good at it. So I think it's really important that we talk to our loved ones and just let them know what we know. But gosh, you guys, we can't break out and argue with people.
Right. So we see C. Ellison saying Wild West scenario. Yeah, pretty much. It really is. And yeah, obviously there's tons of goods that aren't coming in. There's tons of things that aren't getting shipped. We've seen videos popping up sporadically of ports that are not completely empty, but we have to go on what these people are saying. They're saying that there's a lot less activity at the ports. We went to the little dollar store today, and none of their brand of water was available. They had a few choices. The shelves were still pretty fully stocked, but this is a tiny little place. I don't really know exactly what's going on in Vegas or LA, so we haven't ventured out that way into all the populace. But yeah, most definitely supply chain is going to be an issue. And keep in mind too, inflation on things that are basics, survival items as well. That's going to be happening. So the value of the dollar, who's going to be the winner in all this? And, who's going to be the biggest losers as far as the countries go economically as well? Right now, we'll see. China was smashed. Obviously, they were smashed. But, and thank you, Mickey the Iron Worker.
Thank you, Mickey the Iron Worker. No water in Birmingham, Alabama, Sam's. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks. Just, please do share. Yeah, people are catching on over in Sedona. Loma Linda section, regular canned goods were heavily picked through at Walmart. Go back tomorrow and see how it looks. We've avoided, public gatherings as much as possible. Like when we did shop, we went north and we went to a town that has about 500 people, literally. So we just felt like it was more, wise as opposed to going the other way and being exposed to tens of thousands or more. So yeah, hemp 2020, hemp saves the world. I think people are doing research now. I think a lot of people are doing research, even, people that have been kind of asleep to everything that's going on, and they're learning these things, but you got to implement it, get it going, and even with us, we're not where I'd want to be with growing stuff. I mean, we have stuff growing, but we need to do a lot of transplanting into bigger containers now. And, I still have some grow lights I had bought that I'm not utilizing yet, and it's tough when you get to a certain point. You have to make a lot of decisions. Plus, we're in the middle of, closing on a property and starting to transfer ourselves mentally to a totally new place. And so there's going to be so much work to do there as well. So, guys, just prep as best as you can. I would look at what's happened in China, Iran, Italy, and just figure worst case scenarios. So if you plan for the worst, you're going to be doing the best prepping you possibly can.
Right. You know, I mean, everything that you can do is worth doing. Just because you can't do things perfectly doesn't mean, panic and don't do it at all. We all have issues. We all have things that could use a little honing. We all have problems. And what we can do is what we can do. And that act of love that you do now is going to make a heck of a difference, in the future for somebody. So don't sell yourself short. Any little thing you can do is worth doing.
Yep. And thank you, Finding Joe. We appreciate it. Yes, Grizz, exactly. Better to have it and not need it than to need it. And, like we've always stocked up. I've just been in that mode for a long time. Realize what things last as well, just to like give you an info. I was looking at the dates on some stuff, and so say like canned tomatoes, the dates are going out into 2021, well into 2021, into 2022 on the cans. But if you look at like mayo, the dates are only like 5-6 months, so rotate your food too. If you are stocked up, make sure you're rotating your food stocks so that you got to be just like a grocery store when you're doing this, and know what's older. Use that, keep going on. It's a good idea to stock up, Grizz, on alcohol, all types.
All types, absolutely.
Think about, somebody made a comment about the old Wild West, right? Somebody gets shot in the old movies. What do? They grab a bottle of whiskey, take a swig, and put it on themselves before they go and remove the bullet. So yeah, most definitely. Think in terms of how things used to be in the old days. And boy, I think unfortunately so many of us have lost some skills we would really love to have now with the times that we have.
We would, and there's this little trick I heard about a year ago called candling with chicken eggs. Do you know what candling is? It's if you have chickens on a farm and you get the eggs, you put a candle to make sure there's no baby in there.
Yeah, I have seen that. And we haven't been eating any meat. We've been basically eating vegetarian, but we might get some chickens because we're gonna have room for it, and we definitely would do the eggs.
Yeah.
So lots of things to think about, guys. So thank you guys so much for your support. As always, please do, take care and stock up and be ready for whatever comes. And we can lean on each other in these times, share our ideas with each other as well. As always, my friends, God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste.